Hi there, this is Jamie Santiano, artist in silversmithing and jewelry design. I wanted to talk to you today about some tools that I love. These are the Duckbills. They are a plier and I use them for making chainmail. I absolutely love these pliers. I was turned on to these pliers about 7 years ago when I went to take a workshop with Spider Chain.com. She is an artist in making chainmail. And she had shown me these because I have a tendency to work with larger size jump rings, anywhere from 14, 12 to 10 gauge. I'll even go thicker if I can. I really love working with much bigger pieces of jewelry or making bigger pieces of jewelry. And so anyhow, when you're trying to work with a chain nose plier on jump rings that are that large, and we're talking inner diameters of like 3/8 of an inch, which, to give you an idea, it would be about this size, and this is 12 gauge. And so in working with this size of a jump ring, you run the risk of slipping. Let me grab these to show you. It's really difficult to get a good handle on jump rings this large in trying to open it, which I won't even try at this point because there's a big gap, if you can see, where there's not a lot of contact in between the jump ring and the chain nose. So, it's trying to make contact more down towards the bottom of the ring, which then leads to slippage, rings flying all over, which is always the case when making chainmail, especially when you're first learning. So with the Duckbills, I'm finding that they're just so much easier to work with because of the wide jaw. This wide jaw has a better grip on the jump rings, and I'll show you why. With the Duckbills, you come in at the sides, like so. And so when we go to open and close, you have more contact. So jump rings aren't slipping and, flying all over the place. So this is why I prefer to use the Duckbills. So they are my go-to, like I said, because I tend to work on a much larger scale of chainmail and jump ring. And so recently I've become a distributor for Eurotool, and I do now carry the Duckbills, which is great because what I do teach classes in chainmail, and we work with a larger jump ring. Students aren't trying to use a smaller flat nose or trying to work with the chain nose because, like I said, jump rings are flying all over the place. They drop them. It's just too much slippage. So in having the Duckbills, it's really great because they do grab a hold of the jump ring just nicely. Again, I'll show you that so you can see it just fits in there much more snug than that of the chain nose. Also, another thing I want to mention is with the Duckbills, the handles are a bit larger, and even though they seem really huge and bulky, they actually sit really nicely in the palm of one's hand. And I have quite small hands, so at first when I did try these out, I was like, these seemed a little bit uncomfortable. However, as I got to working with these, it just felt natural. I didn't have that, what do you call it, blisters and things, a big red mark here from trying to hold the pliers in my hands. So that's one of the nice features about these. And I also like the way the handle feels. It's got a nice rubber handle. And also, too, the handles aren't, they fit so close to the actual plier itself that It doesn't have a tendency to spin around like some of the other pliers I've used, where the rubber handle does over time start to spin around. So that's one of my favorite features of this type of plier. What else? They do have springs, however, mine have broken. I have a tendency to break springs. I'm really hard on my tools, and I just have some strength in my hands that I have a tendency to break them. I've broken probably 4 or 5 different sets over the years, so that's just me. But they do, as you can see, they do have a spring in here, right in there. So anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of, you know, when buying pliers and why to use them and which ones to choose from. Everyone has their own favorite pair, and these, like I said, I make a lot of wallet chains, and so with my wallet chains I'm using much heavier gauge wire, and so it's much easier to work with. And like I said, when opening and closing jump rings of this size, like I said, anywhere from 14 to 10 gauge, even higher, you wanna go at it from the sides. So we always come in from the sides. On occasion, I do work like this when I need to get into a tight spot, but for the most part, you come in from the sides, and then you can link your jump rings together. And also too, for the video's sake, I'm kind of going away from myself, where normally I would probably work closer in and be able to open and close the jump rings. So I found that I have less fatigue with these, so I hope that helps. It's just a quick little review of them. Like I said, everybody has their own favorite pliers and size jump rings that they work with. It just so happens that I love to work on a much larger scale, so these pliers are nice. Oh, and one other thing. When working with a larger size jump ring, these pliers do not mar. They do not mar the jump ring, which is nice because when you're working in sterling silver or when you're working in anodized aluminum such as this, you won't get marks that you would from chain nose. Because with chain nose, again, they just don't hold well. And so you run the risk of slipping, and with slipping or trying to hold on real tight to the jump ring as you're opening and closing, what happens is the chain nose pliers will dig into the side of the jump ring, which then will scrape off the color. It'll mar the jump rings up, and they don't look as nice and pretty when, you know, your final piece is finished. And same thing with sterling silver. You want to avoid as much marring as possible. So again, the duckbills are usually my go-to when I'm working on a much larger scale, which is most of the time. So anyway, I hope this review was helpful for you in when you're choosing your pliers, and don't be afraid of them. They fit really well in the palm of your hands. They feel really good. These ones I've been working with for 7 years now, and I have bought a whole new pair. However, I'm just so used to working with these without the spring, and you know, I don't know, we've bonded. So anyway, have a good evening, and please subscribe and like and comment on my video. Thank you very much. Have a good one.